Hey, Tuesday at 2 here from Circle B Diecast in Concord, North Carolina. So glad that you have joined us. Steve Post from the Motor Racing Network, our weekly conversation. Have a question, want to talk a little NASCAR racing, North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, type it in there and we'll have a little visit. Really neat stuff, that's for sure. We're at a really fun spot. Was talking to some guys that work for some of the race teams and man, I'll tell you what, the race teams are loving this portion of the schedule. Do a little drive down to Darlington, drive back. Do a little drive up to North Wilkesboro, drive back. Do a little drive down to Charlotte Motor Speedway, drive back. Now, come June, we'll get back into airplanes, but really neat time of the year. What I love about it is the historic nature of it. Like I was thinking about this, Darlington and North Wilkesboro to Charlotte. Who are you and what have you done with 1986's schedule? I think it's awesome. And then the racing has been phenomenal, other than Sunday night when Kyle Larson ruined everything. And we'll talk about that as well. But the racing has been so good, and why would we expect anything not to change going into the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend? Intermediate package with this race car has been exceptional, and 600 miles, 400 laps, lots of changes, lots of things. I think it's going to be good. But let's look back to North Wilkesboro first off here in our conversation. And first and foremost, the diecast car and truck for Kyle Larson, the Saturday truck winning car and the Sunday Cup Series winning car are available at circlebdiecast.com. That's circlebdiecast.com. Get it ordered up, get your name on one. They just offered the truck. They just offered the truck today. So that is really good. So get that. Use promo code Postman68 on your orders of $30 or more, and we'll discount the shipping for you as well. So yeah, and North Wilkesboro, wow, what a weekend. Derek, I'm with you. I love that. I love the schedule. I really do. I think it's really a neat time of year. I'm one of those, that, I love my old school NASCAR, but I also think we need to adapt. And I think it's really fascinating to me that we have a season where we go to North Wilkesboro and we're doing a street race in Chicago. I just think that's really good. So fun stuff. And Derek, I agree. Short track package needs some work. There was two things that happened on Sunday night in the race. Okay, I agree with you. The short track package does need a little work. I also believe that there's 23 teams that got their butts whooped as well. Man, I'll tell you what. It's Kyle Larson. One of the things I saw someone on Twitter say, I hate this rules package because the short track rules package because nobody could pass. Kyle had a speeding penalty and went from 24th to first. I just think that I think the rules package needs work. So I'm with you, Derek. I think the rules package needs some work. But I think what we had more so on Sunday night was a good old fashioned butt whooping. I just believe that. And sometimes we have those in racing. Not every football game is a 42-42 tie at the end of regulation. Not every baseball game is 9-9 at the end of regulation or a last inning, last pitch home run. Sometimes someone comes in and whoops somebody, and that's what we had on Sunday night. That short track package that nobody could pass, the guy that whooped everyone went from 24th to first. Okay, in about, it seemed like 17 laps. Now, it was longer than that. And I'll say this, and so that's my thought on the race itself. And I hope we can get it so the racing is better. Honestly, North Wilkesboro at times had races where people would wear people out. So it's just one of those things. But the bottom line of it is, in this era of parity, it is impressive when someone gets an upper hand, and Kyle Larson had the upper hand. So I'm there is some work that needs to be done, but Kyle Larson whooped him as well. And I think both of those can be true and accurate. Okay. Now that's the racing. The event, holy cow. And this goes back to Tuesday, Wednesday with the late model stocks. This goes back and the ASA super late models. Friday nights, pole qualifying, pit crew challenge. There was people everywhere. Saturday, the truck race. I don't know when the truck series is ran in front of an audience like that. I mean, and I know it's a small venue. I get that. But it was a huge, very vocal crowd, very into it crowd. All the drivers talked about it. And Sunday, they started the day. They had a Tim Duggar and Dierks Bentley concert. The way the place lays out up there, they had this perfect, and it was just in the field, but this perfectly laid out amphitheater, where it was not too steep, not too shallow. It was perfect. You could walk down through there. I did, and I walked back up out of there without feeling like I was falling down or falling over backward. And I stood behind people and could see perfectly well. And people standing behind me could see perfectly well. So it's phenomenal. I just thought that and then you get into the atmosphere and the excitement and the drama and the driver introductions. I was backstage. That's where we do a lot of our interviews with MRN, and the reaction of the crew guys when they're just looking at this mass of people screaming and hollering. It was a great, great moment. And I'm telling you, that great, great moment, as Kyle Larson came through the field, that place you could hear the crowd over the race cars. The problem was when Kyle Larson got done passing people, it was over. It was like they needed to start him last in the second stage, and then maybe at lap 150 put him last again. But it was a phenomenal event. Phenomenal event. Could have been a better race. Phenomenal performance by one team and one driver. And boy, I'll take it. I'll take it. It was really, really good. So fun stuff. Now we've got some we've got some comments up here that I thought was good. Truck race was good. Late model race was good, Derek. I'm with you on that. Alan, that was the one I saw. What do you think is next for a NASCAR event at Wilkesboro will be? Alan, as I stood there looking around at the place on Sunday afternoon, no way in my mind were they doing it for one night. So I don't know what's next. If I had to guess, I would say All-Star again next year. We're at an interesting time with the sport. Right now, the sport is in negotiations for a television contract. I think that starts in 2025. So what does the TV network want? Do they want one All-Star race? Do they want no All-Star race? Do they want unique races at every track? Do they want 16 street courses? I'm probably being a little aggressive there. Do they want 2 street courses and 6 short tracks? And so I think we're at an interesting spot. And so I think, to your question, Alan, I think next year we probably look at a little bit more of the same with North Wilkesboro. After that, I would not be surprised if we don't get a full points paying race there. I mean, we're also in a spot. You remember in the 90s, we were building tracks that had 80,000, 100,000, 120,000, 140,000, 160,000 seats. Okay? There's not a sporting event and a sports program on the planet that's doing that anymore. Okay? With the exception of Beaver Stadium at Penn State, Volunteer Stadium in Tennessee, the Big House in Michigan, maybe the Horseshoe. I don't know what the Horseshoe in Ohio State is. Beyond those big 5 or 6 college football programs, look at baseball stadiums. They're small. They've got great areas where you can go and hang out at a bar and watch it on TV for an inning or two. Look at football stadiums. They're smaller. Look at SoFi Stadium out in Los Angeles. That's a small stadium seating-wise. We're going to see that in NASCAR. And I know some folks, and maybe some of you, get on Twitter and say, well, they sold it out, but it's not nearly what it used to be. Well, you're darn right about that, and neither is anything else. The reality of this is that this downsizing that is happening in all sports and is happening in NASCAR may really open up the doors to some more things like we saw at North Wilkesboro. So I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's a good spot to be in because it gives a little bit more flexibility. Bottom line, and here's the other thing, okay? We heard, and I believed the potential for 2 things were going to happen. I believed the potential for the track to come apart, and I 100% believed in the potential that I was going to sit in traffic for 3 hours. Okay? Track didn't come apart, and I was slow getting out of there for 15 minutes before I hit the final intersection, and giddy up I went. You can do a lot better things as far as the creature comforts, and traffic is a creature comfort with a smaller crowd. Charlotte Motor Speedway is not the 185,000 people it used to be. I don't know what they seat anymore, but I'm telling you, 185,000 people getting out of Charlotte Motor Speedway with Speedway Boulevard and Highway 85 and Interstate and Route 29 and Route 49 was a mess. You've got to have, and I don't think people do it. So I think we're at a really spot where this size of this sport is really opening itself to a lot of things. And I think North Wilkesboro, back to your question, Alan, is part of that. I really do think that's part of it. So I'm pumped about what I saw at North Wilkesboro, and I'm pumped about what I saw there, what a great weekend it was, and I'm really excited about what the future is. So exactly. Brad says, I hope they put North Wilkesboro on this race schedule. I do too. But my hunch is as we go, because of this transitional period we're at here with the TV deal, and I think it's 2025, I think 2024 could look like more of the same, and that's all right. That's fine, because it was good. It was it was good. And so yeah, good stuff, that's for sure. Saw one there, it was about streaming. Where was it at here? Yeah. Oh, John, our thoughts on Xfinity going streaming. Okay, first off, that's a news report on Xfinity going streaming. Okay, now it's a fairly good source. The guy that does the Sports Business Journal usually has his stuff buttoned up. I'm probably different than most people. Okay, I don't own a television. Okay, so I'm probably not the target audience for anybody or anything. Okay, I do watch sprint car races on a tablet. And guess how I get those? Streaming. So I am really curious, this whole Xfinity on streaming. And I don't even know what to expect. And again, I'm not a consumer of television. Okay, I haven't had a DirecTV or a Time Warner, if they're even around, or a whatever cable or satellite bill in years. So I'm probably not a good sample size of that audience. I am a guy that watches sprint cars and late models on streaming all the time and love it. Okay, so my thoughts on Xfinity going to streaming, and you got to remember, just what, and John, literally, this just jumps out of me. Xfinity going streaming. Doesn't Xfinity stream? If I'm not mistaken, Xfinity has that's what they do. Now, granted, they're a cable provider and everything else, but it's in the streaming vein. I don't know. I think the source that comes from there, Adam Stern, is generally pretty good. So I think there's probably some fire there. It's going to be interesting to see if they pull the trigger. And again, I'm not sure. I'm fine. I'm fine with it all. Here's the answer. 3 letters. MRN. Yeah, there you go. MRN. That's good. So, like I said, I hope I've laid that out to you there. That news story is a fairly credible source. With Xfinity being involved, they're very creative in what they want to do. We've seen what's going on in football, and face it, football with the Amazon Prime program, football is the leader as far as television sports goes. So I would not be surprised, like it or not. I would not be surprised. Here's the reality of it. I love my NFL football. And if I want to watch Thursday night games, or if I want to watch that game they're going to have on Black Friday, I'm going to need to be streaming Amazon Prime. And if I'm that much of a fan, I'm going to do it. So I think that I think it's coming down the road, but I fall in the pro streaming category because what I've seen it does for dirt track racing and that sort of thing. Thomas says, I have to say that listening to you on MRN radio during the races while I'm on break works, and it's totally awesome. Thank you. We are really, really good we are really, really good with MRN, having a good time doing it. And I appreciate people listening. I really do. So, yeah. Derek says dirt is the way to go. Yeah, I think so to a degree. I'm probably pro. Let's go to a authentic dirt track. I would love to see the Cup cars at Eldora. I think the Cup cars at Eldora would be really cool. I don't know that we get there, but I think the Cup cars at Eldora would be good there. I didn't realize that, Erskine, that the Texas All-Star race had bigger viewing numbers than the North Wilkesboro race. I'm baffled by that, too. I'm baffled by that as well. I can tell you one thing. The folks at Texas last year ago and the folks at North Wilkesboro this year, Folks in North Wilkesboro were wound up about it. The folks in Texas, they love their All-Star race, but but it was not nearly the energy or the excitement that we had at Eldora or at North Wilkesboro. So interesting numbers, that's for sure. I didn't see those, Erskine. See, I'm just kind of reading it, and you caught me off the fly there. So yeah, but it was good. The All-Star race, North Wilkesboro is great, and I think we're at a spot with this sport where it's really, really exciting to take it to new places and new venues. Speaking of new places and new venues, or not speaking of new places and new venues, Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend, the Coca-Cola 600, it is going to be awesome. It really is. My understanding is we're going to have a big crowd. I have heard that the numbers are off the roof as far as attendance goes. Okay? So I think we're going to have a big crowd, and I think we're going to have a fun event. The intermediate track, we just talked about the short track program. The intermediates, I don't know. It's been really, really good, and I expect more of the same. And I think the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday night is going to be epic. I really do. I just think it's going to be really, really good. Derek, you're saying sold out. I had heard that. But my Tuesdays, folks, I got to be honest with you. I come in here on Tuesday. I start off at 8:30, I do a radio hit. At 9 o'clock, I record Crew Call. At 10 o'clock, I have a mandatory meeting with MRN. At noon, I do Wing Nation. At 2 o'clock, I'm over here doing Circle B Diecast. And so when I see, like there's times when one of you guys, Derek or you, AJ, or someone will come on and say, "How they just announced this?" My Tuesdays, if they announce something on a Tuesday, I don't see it till Wednesday morning. So, and so if they've announced a sold out, I'm not shocked. I've heard the numbers were really, really good, and I think that's awesome. I really do. I think that's really cool. Yep. Yeah, about 5 minutes ago. Okay. Coca-Cola tickets are sold out. That is phenomenal. That is awesome. That is good news. Okay. This is the little bugaboo of mine. It goes back to Erskine's point. Okay. TV views and sold out. Okay. I understand that TV viewers are way, way more than a sold out grandstand. Okay. The other thing I understand is TV viewers, or you and I, on a Sunday, when we pop a top on a soda or a beer, pop up some popcorn, and plop our butts down on the seats. Fans that buy tickets and go to the events are spending a lot of money doing it, and very, very engaged. And I like when I hear tracks are sold out. I really do. I just think that shows that people are supporting it. So I like that. I think Charlotte Motor Speedway was sold out. So there you go. I appreciate it, Derek. Good stuff. Good stuff. Exactly. Let's see. Okay. There was supposed to be TV viewership. Okay. Cool. I've seen a couple of comments there about Rockingham. I'm not sure. The problem with this was like, remember when we did the Roval and it was great the first year? And everyone's like, "Oh, we need to do the Roval at Michigan. We need to do the Roval at Kansas. We need to do the Roval at Daytona. We need to do. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. The other problem with Rockingham is here's just the reality of this thing. North Wilkesboro, the beauty of North Wilkesboro, it's always been owned in some form or fashion in partnership by Speedway Motorsports, who has a lot of dates. Where does the Rockingham date come from? Now, Speedway Motorsports contracts with COTA. They don't own COTA, but they contract with COTA. So does Speedway Motorsports or NASCAR contract with Rockingham? I don't know. But here's the problem. Let's go by what we're hearing. Okay? Oh, we went back to North Wilkesboro and it was great. Oh, we went to Rockingham and it was great. Oh, we went back to the National Short Track and it's great. Well, you know what happens in 5 years? Oh, my God, we're going back to Nashville again and Rockingham again and North Wilkesboro. We're right where we were at years ago. I don't know that we're going to do this all the time. And Rockingham's been a hot topic. There's no denying it. You're not the first one. You won't be the last one that Rockingham comes up. But the problem with the Rockingham thing is I don't know the ownership model to get there. I just don't. So we'll have to see. Stay tuned. They're putting a lot of money into the place. We'll have to see. I don't know. Good stuff. AJ wants to see, do we see Bowman back this weekend? I don't know. I haven't heard. I haven't heard anything at all out of the Bowman camp. Now, if it's announced today, I didn't hear it. That's for sure. Matthew says, question about returning back to a short track like Richmond Raceway, the way it was before it moved to Sunday afternoons. That's a great question, and dear God, I don't know what we're going to do about old Richmond. I love Richmond. I don't know if I liked it. No, I liked it better on Sunday afternoon because Richmond's a great town and I could find a nice craft brewery up there on Saturday night. So selfishly, I liked it better on Sunday. I'll be anxious to see as we continue to evolve this short track program on the car if we can get some better racing. I don't know. Richmond is a mystery to me, Matthew. It's just a mystery. I don't know what's going on up there. And that breaks my heart because I love going to Richmond. I love going up there to that racetrack. I love the town. I love everything about it. The size leads me to believe I'm going to see something great. Sometimes we do. Most times we leave there looking for something a little bit more. I know Kyle Larson loved it. This year, but I don't know. Matthew, I think Richmond is Richmond. Well, what am I doing? Scratching my head. I don't know. Richmond is. Oh, I messed up my hair now. Oh my gosh! See that, Matthew? You made me mess up my hair. No, I'm just having fun with everybody here. No, I think it's Richmond. I don't know what the answer is. Whether Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of speculation that Sunday afternoon, bright sunshine makes the track slicker. Saturday night under the lights, cars spark, a lot more energy, a lot more excitement. I think you can make an argument for either one of them, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I really am not. And AJ and Matthew, we don't need you two to going back and forth. So AJ, just pipe it down there, okay? Day racing is better at Richmond. That's your opinion. Matthew has his opinion. This site is not for arguing, so pump the brakes. If you want to argue, there are millions of places on the World Wide Web you can go. Go to Twitter. They like arguing on Twitter. Lots of people like arguing on Twitter. We don't like arguing on our Circle B Diecast feed. So there you go. Time out. Awesome. Good stuff. Great stuff. Great to catch up with everybody. Race week here in Charlotte. Man, I'm loving this week. Millbridge Speedway tonight and tomorrow night. Got midgets and micro sprints, and it's going to be awesome. On Thursday night, this is like leading up to Christmas for me. Okay, there's a track in Gaffney, South Carolina called Cherokee Speedway. The motto is the place your mama warned you about. I'm going down there to watch the Dirt Late Models race for $10,000 on Thursday night. A Thursday night. I'm going to the place your mama warned you about. If you're coming to Charlotte Thursday night, there's also an ASA race up at Hickory, which is going to be awesome. It is going to be great, that's for sure. And then Friday night, ARCA and Trucks, Saturday Xfinity Series, and the qualifying run for the Cup cars is after the Xfinity Series on Saturday night. Got a concert up there Saturday night afterwards. Sunday, Doobie Brothers. Well, Tim Duggar's going to kick it off. Doobie Brothers right into the Coca-Cola 600. It is going to be a great, great weekend, that's for sure. So great stuff. Really, really cool and fun stuff. Hey, I like the variety of questions that we got here today, okay? There are times we come on here and all we get is our buddy Victor updating us that Larson swept North Wilkesboro and that sort of thing. And we love that Victor participates in this at all. But I really like the idea of the streaming question that we got, North Wilkesboro, Rockingham questions. That's what we're doing with this here, is to have this dialogue, just to have this conversation, and to banter back and forth. We're not going to argue about it. We're not going to argue. We already shut the arguing down. We're not going to argue about things, but just to offer up observation, opinion, my perspective, your perspective. I love your perspective on things, and we're just going to continue on. So that's what we're doing here on our Tuesday at 2 show, and we appreciate it very, very much. Again, race-winning diecast from North Wilkesboro, Kyle Larson's truck from Saturday and Cup car from Sunday are available at www.circlebdiecast.com. Make sure you use promo code Postman68, and we'll take a discount on your shipping on orders of $30 or more. Great catching up with everybody. Great chatting. Memorial Day weekend. A, go to a race, and B, follow along with all the rest of the races that you can't physically get to. Great, great weekend. One of the biggest racing weekends, if not the biggest weekend in motorsports. So I'm the Postman, Steve Post. Thanks for joining us this week on our Tuesday at 2 visit here on Circle B Diecast.